When you think of Star Wars, what pops into your head? Maybe it's Darth Vader, lightsabers, the opening crawl, the music, among so many other things from the galaxy far, far away. One of the things that always springs to the forefront of my mind is the X-Wing. The X-Wing has always been synonymous in my mind with Star Wars. To me, they're the most iconic starfighters in all of Star Wars. So, after over a year of my UCS X-Wing sitting in its rather nice shipping box, which is a really nice touch to add in for the shipping process, thank you LEGO, the time has finally come to build it. This is actually my first UCS set that I've built from new, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what the build is going to be like. I did build the 2017 UCS Snowspeeder out of a mixed lot of two incomplete sets of it. Honestly, that gave me a little PTSD, so let's not talk about it. Getting to the actual box, this set follows the trend of 18+ style box art for UCS sets. The blue hue in the background is a nice homage to the original UCS X-Wing, which was actually the original UCS Star Wars set all the way back in 2000, which launched alongside the original UCS TIE Interceptor. While this style of box art isn't necessarily bad, I do kind of miss the days of old when we got more stylized and unique UCS box art. I doubt we will ever see a return to this art style in the future, but I sure would appreciate it. As is often the case with 18+ sets, and especially the UCS sets, the opening pages of the instruction manual offer some really nice information and insights into both the X-Wing itself as well as the set. With all of that being said, let's finally take a look at the finished product. And here it is, the 2023 T65 X-Wing Starfighter. Right from the off, I have to say that I think this set is absolutely stunning. When I look at the set on display, I honestly can't help but beam with a silly smile across my face. Admittedly, some of that is likely due to the fact that this is the first UCS set that I've built from new. Let's just not talk about that, Snowspeeder. So let's talk about the build and some of its features. Firstly, this set captures the shape and overall profile of the X-Wing brilliantly. While I have never owned the previous incarnations of the UCS X-Wing, I think the gulf in quality between this set and those older ones is quite clear when looking at pictures of the previous model. I know that some people have had their complaints about various visual aspects of this set, particularly that of the nose section, but personally I don't really have any issues with it. If you're like me and not a fan of Technic heavy LEGO sets, then you're in luck here, as there's not a huge amount of Technic going on relative to the overall build and piece count. However, this set is solid, and the Technic elements used in this set do a great job of lending strength to the X-Wing's overall build, while also allowing for the main action of this set, which is locking the S-foils into attack position. The turning of the Technic piece feels smooth and is satisfying to click into place. The piece itself also blends in quite well to the overall build and functions as a type of greebling in its own right. To return the wings to their non-attack position, simply turn that same piece the opposite direction. The engines of the X-Wing have proven tricky to replicate in LEGO form at this scale previously, but I think these ones look gorgeous. The tile pieces inserted sideways are an interesting technique, and in my opinion they do a really good job of helping to build the profile of the X-Wing's 4 engines. Moving to the back of the engines, they are gorgeously rendered in LEGO form here, with the pink translucent elements used really helping them to stand out and catch the eye. I also really like the way the engine exhausts are made using the clip pieces. It was an interesting building technique, and I think the end result looks great. The use of sand blue and tan colour pieces do a good job of selling the idea that this X-Wing has seen combat and consequent weathering as a result. With this being Luke Skywalker's X-Wing, this is of course Red 5, as evidenced by the markings found on both the left and right top wings, which are captured in LEGO form really nicely with the use of the red tile pieces. The 4 laser cannons look great, with some clever parts usage being implemented to achieve their shape and detail, including the use of 2 flipper parts on each one. The technique used to build the cannons does result in a slight gap being visible, but it's really only noticeable if you know it's there and you're looking out for it. The printed cockpit piece, which thankfully came bagged separately, is nice and a definite upgrade on the 2013 version, which needed 3 stickers to be pretty precisely placed to capture the look of the cockpit. This is a big improvement. Inside of the cockpit we see the targeting computer that Luke turns off during the trench run, and there's also some stickered pieces in here to show us the controls and display inside of the cockpit, as well as a flight yoke. When the wings are locked in their open position, some of the internal Technic structure is visible, but I don't really find it to be an eyesore or detractor from the displayability of the set personally. As for the minifigures, we get Luke in his flight suit as well as R2. R2 does feature back printing, which is a nice touch. However, this back printed version has been in 5 sets as of the time of this review, including in the much cheaper Yoda Starfighter set. So if you really want this R2, you could always just get him with that set. All in all, he's nice, but nothing all that special to see here. He can be placed in the astromech slot behind the cockpit, but he does look a little silly given that this set is not in minifigure scale. Luke, on the other hand, is unique to the set and does feature some really nice print details, with some good printing on both the arms and legs, which are dual molded to feature his black boots. The torso piece printing is great, with his flight suit's life support unit being strapped a little off center, which is just how it should be. He does have two facial expressions, one with his visor down and one with his visor up. His lightsaber is included, however there is no hair piece included, which would have been a nice, if not totally necessary touch. While the final build looks beautiful, the build did feature some stages that really did test my patience. The body panel pieces were a little fiddly to fit onto the set, and I found that some build sections towards the back of the engine area would break apart as I fit other builds into place. The brown pins used to lock the wings into place, while solid ones properly in place, were a little tricky to lock into position, and I did again find myself knocking some of those same panels off while fitting the wings into place. It is worth noting that the wings do not sit fully closed together, leaving a small gap to be seen. However, I think that the intention of the designer with the set is that fans will lock the S-foils and display the ship in its most iconic form. The stand, while it is the first to feature a printed UCS plaque and does offer a nice look for the X-Wing, is flawed in terms of its design. If the X-Wing sits a little too far down onto the display stand, which can just happen over time, these pieces will fly off of the set, which is exactly what happened to me after building the set and letting it sit on my desk. Thankfully, LEGO has put out an official fix for this frustrating flaw, which involves the use of the parts that you can see on screen. Included in my spare parts were the two Technic pins needed, and luckily I managed to find the black cylindrical pieces in my collection of spare parts. But if you don't have these pieces, you can contact LEGO customer support and they will send you the parts free of charge. To then fix the issue with the stand, place the pieces as so, and that's it. Problem solved, albeit it is really frustrating that there is an issue to be solved in the first place. While I don't consider this a negative personally, the UCS X-Wing is pretty much unswooshable, given the weight and more fragile build when compared to a typical playset version. If you're looking for an X-Wing to swoosh around, consider picking up the currently available X-Wing and TIE Fighter set instead. Likewise, while not a negative for me, the last few bags of this set are quite similar in terms of the builds, but what else do you expect in a set where the vehicle is pretty much symmetrical in terms of design? If you are going to pick up the UCS X-Wing for whatever reason that you may need to, please heed the advice for doing so that is given in the instructions. Trust me, it is the best way of carrying this thing. Lastly, let's talk about the price. While I do have a lot of love for this set, €240 is too steep a price for what you're getting here, and I think that the price for the newer UCS TIE Interceptor being €10 cheaper is perhaps reflective of a realisation from LEGO themselves. I am sure that this set will see decent sales in the future from LEGO directly, maybe with the upcoming Black Friday sales for 2024 as well as next year's May 4th promotion. I have seen this set failing to sell for less than €200 new in box on local resale apps, so if you look around, I don't think you'll have to pay anywhere near the retail price for this set. Taking into account all that has been said about this set, I would recommend that you go out and get it. However, I think you should shop around and try find yourself a better deal than its retail price. This is a beautiful set, it truly is, and the enjoyment I get from seeing it each time I walk into my room makes it a wholly worthwhile addition to my collection. However, if I had known that this set would be relatively easy to find at a much lower price than its retail price, I would have shopped around, and that's what I recommend anyone watching this video to do. I don't think you will be disappointed if you do pay full price for this set, but it is always nice to save some money where you can, isn't it? Before finishing off here, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has watched, liked or commented on any of my videos recently, and I'd like to both thank and welcome you to the channel if you have subscribed. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then maybe you might consider leaving this video a like and subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with all of my videos. With all of that being said, thank you for watching and I hope that you have a great day.